Hello, Creative Arts class. My name is Kayla Van Zandt, and I am standing in the art studio of a very influential artist, Norman Rockwell. Mr. Rockwell, thank you so much for allowing us this time.
It's my pleasure, Miss Van Zandt.
Mr. Rockwell, how would you describe the overall theme or inspiration of your artwork?
Without thinking too much about it in specific terms, I was showing the America I knew and observed to others who might not have noticed.
Very well spoken. Mr. Rockwell, would you mind telling our viewers a brief history of your beginnings?
Certainly. I was born on February 3rd, 1894 in New York City and always wanted to be an artist. At the age of 14, I enrolled in my first art classes at the New York School of Art. In 1910, just 2 years later, I made the decision to quit high school and pursue my studies in art at the National Academy of Design.
Do you regret your decision of leaving high school early?
Well, not really. I found success early on. Before I had even celebrated my 16th birthday, I already painted my first commission of 4 Christmas cards. While still in my teenage years, I was hired as the art director of Boys Life. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this, it is the official publication of the Boy Scouts of America. From there, I started a very successful freelance career by doing a variety of illustrations. My career took a major turn when I was 21. My family decided to move to New Rochelle, New York, which is where I teamed up with Clyde Forsyth. He was a cartoonist, and we set up a studio together. From there, we produced work for magazines such as Life, Literary Digest, and Country Gentleman.
Would you consider these the most influential publications for you?
No, to me, the Saturday Evening Post was the greatest show window in America. In 1916, when I was 22 years of age, I painted my first cover for the Post. After that, 321 of my paintings were displayed on the cover of the Post over a 47-year time span.
Mr. Rockwell, would you mind telling us about your family?
In the year 1916, I married my first wife, Irene O'Connor, but we divorced in 1930. Later that year, I married a schoolteacher by the name of Mary Barstow. Together we had 3 sons, Jarvis, Thomas, and Peter. In 1939, we decided to move our family to Arlington, Vermont. This is when my artwork began to reflect the small-town American life. It was quite a change from our home in New York.
Did you have any major setbacks in life?
Who doesn't? For me, it started in 1943 when my studio, containing numerous paintings as well as my collection of historical costumes and props, was destroyed in a fire. This was followed by my wife's unexpected death in 1959 after we had moved to Stockbridge, Massachusetts.
When did things turn around for you?
The year after my wife passed away, I published my autobiography entitled My Adventures as an Illustrator. With the help of my middle son, Thomas, the Saturday Evening Post published excerpts in 8 consecutive issues, the first of which featured one of my most famous pieces called Triple Self-Portrait.
Oh yes, that is my favorite of all your work.
Is it now? Well, allow me to send you with a souvenir. Don't let me forget at the conclusion of this interview.
Don't worry, I won't forget. Just a few more questions. You mentioned earlier that the Post published your work for 47 years. By what avenue did you publish your work after that time?
In 1963, I began to do work for Look magazine. This happened 2 years after another major event in my life. I married my third wife, Molly Punderson.
How would you compare your experience with Look magazine to that of the Post?
Well, for starters, I only spent 10 years with Look. During that time, my paintings depicted some of my deepest concerns and interests, such as civil rights, America's war on poverty, and the exploration of space.
How can people learn more about you throughout the years?
In 1973, I established a trust to preserve my artistic legacy by placing my works in the custodianship of the Old Corner House Stockbridge Historical Society, which later became known simply as the Norman Rockwell Museum at Stockbridge. In 1977, I received the nation's highest civil honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
And did you know that in 2008 you were named the official state artist of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
No, that was 30 years after my time, but I'm honored. Hey, what do you say? Are you ready for your special treat?
Am I ever?
May I present to you a personally signed duplicate of your favorite painting of mine.
Wow, thank you so much for your time and your lasting effects in the world of art. And there you have it, Creative Arts class, a never before seen interview with the artist Norman Rockwell.